Finally, I can hear again 1,000 voices, but what happened to mine? 1,000 voices, but what happened to mine?
It's more about the spoken form of language than it is about sound.
Line after line after line.
I tend to reconfigure language, found language from social media feeds, sort of thinking of going into sort of using the news as well, sort of current affairs kind of stuff.
You tell everyone everything, so no one knows anything, so you say nothing to no one.
So it's this kind of play with the language about public and personal and how much of the personal we make public. I came to Courtyard because we did an exhibition as part of uni. We came to do a small show at Courtyard and I really liked the place, so I asked if I could volunteer here. So I've been volunteering at Courtyard for the last year now in a pottery class with the kids, and then the opportunity for the residency came up, so I applied for that because I wanted to stick around. It was suggested for a long time while I was doing my BA. I was working with written text for a long time and I sort of hadn't managed to take that step into sound. It was unknown territory for me. I was quite comfortable with writing. I just wasn't brave enough to take the leap, and then when I did, all of a sudden it was like an epiphany. It was like, yeah, that's exactly what I should be doing. This is the start of the process where I gather things that I've heard or read or thought about, kind of just, this is notes basically, and I just write everything down and it goes into one document, and then throughout my time here I'll consolidate it. And I made a Twitter specifically for the project, and I do a daily tweet where I write a journal for that day, and they just turn into these strange little, almost concrete poetry. It's just kind of rearranging the words and taking words out of their original context and making them mean something else. I'll copy them in here and use them as part of my scripts. I also use other people's tweets, news stories, and interesting things to remove from their contexts. Then I will go in here. This is a sound booth that I made, and it's padded for soundproofing, so it kind of gets rid of, because it's quite echo in here, it takes out some of the echo. So I take myself in here, shut myself in, and it records straight into my computer where I can edit it, cut out samples, layer them, make them sound how I want them to sound, and then the final piece will come out.
Finally, I can hear again 1,000 voices, but what happened to mine? 1,000 voices all at the same time, and they scream at me line after line after line, and I'm trying to forget them to remember the rhyme. But
because there's 6 speakers all the way around the edge, and when you're in there you can't see where the speakers come from, so it's quite disorientating, and the sound moves around you in kind of different configurations. Sometimes it goes around in circles, or it goes, you know, backwards and forwards kind of randomly. End of the first week. It's been really good to have people come in actually and hear the work and ask questions about the process. A real high point this week has been there was a large group of adults that came in, and at first they were quite unsure about what was going on and they're a bit confused about the whole thing, and I played the work to them and explained about the texts and how the work kind of generates. I've been working with a software developer to create a program which uses my voice to read out live tweets. So we've had to create a lexicon of language which is common on Twitter, which I've then had to record all of those words myself, chop them up into individual samples and put them into this program. So when I search for certain keywords or hashtags, it reads them out and it sounds like a robotic kind of version of my voice.
This is us is out on in the UK today.
As the tweets change every day, I'm not recording the vocal, because the whole point is that it's changing every day, and it's this kind of fleeting thing that's an accompaniment to the recorded work that I'm doing. So every day, sort of even every minute is different, so you could come in at any point and the voices will be talking about something else. This is today's feed.
Hey, to get free today, check my weather for we might see a few today.
This week I've been starting to work out how I'd like to wrap up my residency. So throughout my time here, I've been working on a new sound piece, which is what I've got on my screen here now. I've got it to the point where I'm happy with the way it sounds. I just have to allocate each track to one of my 6 speakers. So I've got myself a little diagram here. This is a very rough sketch of the gallery, and these are my 6 speakers. And all you can really focus on is the sound. I didn't want there to be any kind of visual for people to focus on, because I think people bring their own images when they're engulfed in the sound. People imagine what things would look like anyway. To get rid of the light, so when people come in, all there will be is the sound, and there'll be speakers arranged throughout the gallery, with different sounds coming out of each. How it's set up is that you come in here into the booth, shut yourself in. It's almost like an airlock, and there's a little piece in there for you to listen to. And once this door's closed behind you, you can walk through into the gallery, which is all dark. So you in here first, and then through into the gallery where there are other people walking around, and then you have to come back out the same way.
It's going to go in now.
Hour is today. Stop is what and help on.
And I knew that it must be so peaceful. Finally, I can hear again 1,000 voices, but what happened to mine is 1,000 voices all at the same time, and they scream at me. One of the big bosses of this liberation AI have this understanding of genius, vision of women's individual power. No, I'll never satisfy. Initial excitement is the words invaded my sleep, but once I wake, they escape me. When waking floods in, it drowns everything. Finally, I can hear again 1,000 voices, but what happened to mine? 1,000 voices all at the same time, and they scream at me line after line after line, and I'm trying to forget them to remember the rhyme, but time after time I've forgotten. Where's mine?
She's got a good voice, yeah. I don't know how much of that is acting, or I don't know whether she's deliberately whispering.
But yeah, I found it quite soothing, actually.
Very insecure with the darkness.
I preferred it on my own because I felt like you could be more authentic when you're on your own, you know, you can. But I kept trying to move away from everybody and there was nowhere to go.
You've got a very calm, quiet voice. So you're not acting much, are you?
No, not really. I do tend to use my sort of normal, or I try to. I mean, you can't help but when you're recording, you do kind of enunciate differently, but I kind of try and keep it as natural as possible.
The tone of your voice would make a lot of difference to what was being said, doesn't it? So if somebody was reading it, they might read it completely differently to how you're actually saying it. Only you can know what emotion was there at the time.
I think with the stuff that I've written, definitely that's the case, because I kind of write how it's going to sound almost. I kind of, when I'm writing it down, is how I know it's going to sound a certain way.
It's changed Sarah's appreciation and understanding of how people understand her work.
Hi, Sarah. I've only known Sarah for a short time. Julie Scarr and I found her at the University of Hertfordshire degree show when we were touting for people to apply for this residency, and she was part of a strong field who applied for the 4 weeks, and we're absolutely delighted that we chose her. The more you listen, the more you understand that this is what we hear all the time. Don't run away, we want to see you here again. And I know you've had tremendous support from your family and your boyfriend, and hopefully from all of us as well. And we've thoroughly enjoyed having you. And I feel quite emotional now. So thank you very much.
Really good to chat to different people about the work and get everyone's feedback, which I've not really had the chance to do before. And so many different people from different disciplines as well. So children and adults that are creative people and adults that aren't, and then different disciplines and all sorts. And it's been really interesting to see how people have responded to the work and kind of get an insight into people's personal interpretations of it. I think that's one of the things about the work, is that it's got so many different avenues that you could interpret, and people do, which has been really great. And everyone here has been really supportive and helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, it's been wonderful for us. Thank you. Best of luck
I
to
look
you.
forward to hearing how you develop your career as well. I think that's going to be really fascinating for us to see where you go to next and find out what your plans are, and keep in touch and maybe have an exhibition here. That would be fun.
Turner Prize.
Yeah. Keep trying.